Captain's Vlog Brew Day 007.
King Henry, will you do one thing for me? Will you open my right side and find my baby, and find my baby? Oh no, cried King Henry.
Where are we today? Okay, so our last forensic formula 006. Okay, a lot of positives here with all the new waxes, the new solvents, but ultimately a wax which isn't fit for purpose yet. The reason it isn't fit for purpose is it's too greasy and it's too hard, okay? So what I've been doing, so at a very fundamental level, less oil, more solvents, okay? But I've also, my focus is also turned to carriers this week, okay? So I've been focusing with carriers. Now I mentioned when I started up that I had a carrier here called lanolin, and I've been playing around with this stuff, okay? This stuff is like naturally harder, okay? And it's not hard, it's like a grease almost, but it's harder than a lot of the oils. And it's, when you lay it out on its own, it leaves a really nice shine, okay? And it doesn't leave that kind of, even on its own, it doesn't leave that sort of buffer trails of smeariness. And I've wanted to use this for a while, this lanolin, okay? So I'm gonna start incorporating this into my waxes now, because I think this is gonna give me a really good finish. So I'm really focused on not getting a greasy, waxy oil. I've also gone and got some pure kiwi oil, which I've been playing around with as well. It's because it's a looser oil, there's a danger if you use too much of it again, you'll get that greasiness. But this has got, I think, from what I hear as well, good characteristics in terms of laying out and carrying the wax, but also in terms of gloss. So I'm going to be using some of this kiwi oil. I will still be using a little tiny bit of coconut oil. And I am also going to be using still a little tiny bit of this almond oil. What I've noticed with this almond oil, this I think is one of the culprits of being greasy. You've got to be careful with this. So you don't want too much of this in, I think. This is what I think where I'm going. And I still haven't used this pine oil, okay? And this is something that's got a really nice smell to it. So it's going to give, using this will also give a wax a nice scent as well, a natural scent, which I think is really important. I think my mind is not made up yet on fragrances, you know, fragrances and colours, but I think I'm going down the road that I don't want any fragrance or colourings in my wax. I think that could change, and I will experiment with some of those, but I find them a bit cheesy, you know, having them smell of bubble gum or whatever. Just a little bit cheesy for me, and I'm not too enthusiastic about putting dyes in there as well, but I'm not an expert. This is just my humble opinions. So today my main objective is to introduce all these different blends of carriers, but keeping the rough ratios the same, lowering down the overall amount of carriers, upping the overall amount of solvents. And no matter what happens with Forensic 007, I do not want it to be too hard. I want to start getting this blend so that I am somewhere where it feels right, where it's just too hard at the moment. So I'm going banzai mode on the solvents. I'd rather just do one that's way too soft and learn and see what it's like than just keep getting these candles, okay? So we're doing some radical stuff here. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to stick with our blend of 5 nuba, 14B, 2 montan and 4 parafin, okay? I think I might actually, when I say we're going to stick with it, I'm going to drop the parafin down to 3, okay, because I might be a little bit high there. And I'm going to keep the B at 14, and I'm also going to drop the carnauba down to 4, because I've still got relatively high amount, a total of 7 grams of carnauba and montan, which are 2 hard waxes, And the more harder the waxes are, the more carriers you need. So I want the majority of it, I want some of that hard wax characteristic in there, but I also don't want to have to load it up with oils to carry it. In terms of carriers, we're going to be dropping down to a total of 10 grams in this mix of carrier, okay? And that is going to be 5 grams of lanolin, okay? And then the other, 6 grams of lanolin, and then 4 grams of these other ones, 1 gram of each, okay? And then we're going to be going 43 grams of phase 80 flash point solvent. So that's 43, and 1 gram of d-limonene. So this is high. We're at about 55 to 60% solvent here, and that's mainly because I'm not using the solvent very efficiently, so I think I'm cooking a lot of it off. So I'm probably actually at somewhere around 50% solvent, maybe, I'm guessing there, but that's why I'm using a lot. So let's get our waxes in. Okay guys, so our wax is melted. Now I was using this kind of slow pour method where I was putting it in a little bit, but what I was finding is it's just, by putting it in bit by bit, it's putting it in bit by bit means my cooking time with the solvent, some of it's getting cooked out completely. So my way around that is to try and overheat the wax up to about sort of 75, 80, yeah? I need to get my thermometer, but this thing I think goes up to 75. And then, so I can kind of minimise or reduce the amount of cooling going on, because I'm already over the sort of point I need to be. So I've got a nice yellow liquid in here, and in goes all of my solvents this time. Then what I just do, put the lid straight back on, just let that cook down as quickly as possible, and then get it in the jar. So we're nearly there now. Just making sure I want it to be 100% pure. So what's happening all this time now is those solvents are baking away. So I'm putting in a lot more. But I'm going to stick to this brew method, because as long as I'm doing it consistently, then that should work. Right, we're getting there. So I'm nearly ready to pour. So this is just literally like liquid loose jelly, you know, like with the water. Right, we are smooth, and we are going to pour. It's actually hotter than I thought it'd be. And I'm also just plonking it all in here. And the main reason is time. I've got to shoot out. So let's get that wiped off. While this is still hot, it's good to clean it. Great. Okay, I'll come back later on and show you how we get on with that. 24 hours hopefully. Okay guys, this is Forensics Formula 007. It's probably been about 6 hours since it was brewed, which is a little bit premature to be playing around with it. But anyway, let's have a look at it. So, A couple of flakes off there. So you got a, hopefully you can see that, you got a lovely smooth kind of blend, you know what I mean? That lovely silky thing going on. Whoa, that's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. So I can push this now and it gives. Yeah, we are. We're good. So we're good on the hardness of this wax. So if I push my finger into it, it's hard, it feels solid, but then it just, eventually it just goes. And that is my kind of barometer of where I want to be. It doesn't feel too greasy, so I think we might have a good kind of consistency here. So it's nice, it's not crumbly, it's smooth. It's not, yeah, well, let's just put it down. So it's not too greasy. One really good positive on this, that 1 gram of pine oil has made a hell of a difference. Okay, it's just got a tiny smell of pineness to it, and it's masking the solvent smell a little bit. So that 1 gram of pine oil is definitely worth putting in there. I can see it feels a bit, it doesn't feel as like hard as the other ones, you know what I mean? Like it feels loose and light. You know, it's not really hard, it's not dragging over the clear coat. So this goes on good. So we've got a good amount of wax there. I'm just playing around with how it feels. That's nice. It's really nice and loose. So what I'm going to do is just leave that now. And what you can probably see from the camera, if I bring the camera in. It's quite translucent at the moment, so it's quite see-through, and what I'm hoping is going to happen is it's going to actually smear up and you know, haze up. So I'm going to bring you back in a few minutes, in about 5 minutes. So this has been left for between about 5 and 6 minutes. You see it's hazed up a bit. Definitely feels sticky now. I suspect you could leave it even longer. It's starting to dry up there. This bit here's drying as well. Yeah, it's getting sticky. It's drying. So I think it's ready to actually be buffed off. So here we go. Let's see how this comes off. Nice. Yeah, it comes off pretty good. Yeah. A bit awkward trying to buff it here with this tape there. I think it's taken it, that's come off. It feels nice as well, actually. That's nice. Yeah, that feels less kind of grippy than the other ones have done in the past. These cloths aren't helping. See how we do with the water side of it. That's good. It's really repelling. Okay guys, so where are we with Forensic Formula 007? So what we've essentially done here is we've played around with the carrier oil ratios, mixed a lot of different oils in, and the majority of our carrier in this one is lanolin, okay? We also have some pine oil in there. The fragrance of this this wax is better than any of the other ones I've done so far. The tiny bit of pine oil is disguising the solvent smell, so it smells okay. This quite nice actually, in fact. There is still a solvent honk there going on, but you know, most of this is solvent, so Okay, so that's where we are with carriers. The lanolin, I'm finding, this is a hard thing to be certain of, but I can feel the lanolin in here. It's kind of, sticky's not the right word, it's not sticky, it's a greasy thing, but you can feel it. It's got a real nice shine to it, even when you get it on your skin, this lanolin. And I think it's improving the finish. So I'm liking lanolin at the moment. I like the fact dropping the coconut oil down seems to have got rid of some of those smearing and buffery problems. So coconut oil is one that I don't think, sorry, almond oil is the one I don't think you want to use too much of, or you want to be careful of. Now, the next important thing is the consistency, okay? So I put quite a lot of solvent in here because I wanted this to be able to, you'd be able to put your finger in here and push. And that's exactly what I can do, if that's in focus, okay? So this wax now gives, okay? It's not like a hard candle. It's, is it buttery? It's buttery. It's like hard butter, I'd say. Now, if I had nothing to go on, I might say this is where it needs to be. It's, you know, if I had nothing else to go on and I was just making a wax, but still checking my other waxes. If I look at one like this, okay, so you look at this wax here, it's just a lovely pale, okay, lovely pale wax. When I push into that, it's a tiny bit softer than my wax, and I like the consistency of this wax. It's not too dissimilar to mine, but it's a tiny bit softer. So dare I say it, I'm getting close to that tipping point, but I need to go a little bit further with the solvents, I think. But in terms of the greasiness of my oil, of the wax, sorry, I think I'm about there. The worrying thing is, I'm going to be using a lot of solvents in my next blend. You know, I'm probably already up to about 60% solvents, and I'm going to be probably having to go up to 65. And the uncertainty is how much of them, how much of the fact my wax still needs more softening is down to me vaping out loads of solvent, and I think the answer is quite a lot. I'm almost tempted to try heating these solvents up again in a sealed jar. I have to do something to stop them vaping out. Yeah, I've got a lot of solvent in here, but it's still not hard enough. Okay, so we are in good stead, I think, with our blend of waxes. Our blend of oils is, I think our blend of oils is the strongest thing at the moment out of this mix. I really like that. Solvents, one other issue is I'm not getting a fast cure on this, okay? After between 5 and 10 minutes it starts becoming sticky and drying up, okay, and it's the point where you want to buff it off, I believe. It would be great if I could put this down and then buff it straight off, but I believe you're probably better just waiting for it just to start to get sticky and harder when you buff off, because you'll probably be leaving more waxes on the clear coat. So yeah, that's something that I'm not sure about. This is just me thinking, because I'm thinking these wax on wax off ones, they're still wax, they're still carriers, and they're still solvents. So they might, I don't know why they don't tell you to leave them on there to cure harder and then buff off. They probably must be less solvent and more oil based. That must be the way they do it. But then they would be really greasy, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. But step 007 is a big step in the right direction in terms of getting it to us something closer. What I want to do ultimately is get something that I'm happy enough with to send out to people to test. There's no point in me sending something out if I can spot that it's garbage. It has to be, well, garbage is a strong word, not fit for purpose is probably better. When it gets to the stage where I think the consistency's good, the carrier level good, and the wax blend's good, and I'm seeing it apply well, and I'm seeing a good finish, and I'm seeing good beading, and I'm seeing a reasonably fast cure, then I'm ready to send this off and get people to test it. So that is Forensics 007. Thanks very much for watching. We're going to have another go tomorrow where we try and make this wax even softer, and I'm going to be trying to source some more higher viscosity silicone to give this a little bit more hydrophobic qualities. Thanks very much.